All right. Thursday night, you know what that means. It's time for the Area 51 Superspeedway Truck Series to kick off here tonight at the Talladega Superspeedway. 2.66 mile oval here that we're all familiar with on Thursday nights. Glad to have you here for the journey. I'm Maxwell Caldwell. Alongside me tonight in the booth is the boss man here, Gael Brooks. Boomer is still not feeling super well, so Gael graciously jumped out of the truck to join us here tonight. So, Gael, first off, how'd last week go running at Atlanta? How'd you like being out there with those boys?
I had a blast. I did everything I could. We were joking, obviously, before the broadcast here that say at some point, if I can't get it done, you might have to hop off the booth and get on the track and see if we can knock Gabe down a peg because he's been on a roll. I think you said the last between Sundays and Thursdays, he's won the last 4 or 5 races, I believe. So he's been on a roll, and I mean we know Gabe. He's been one to go on these giant winning streaks. So it was a lot of fun though. I had a lot of fun working with the guys. I was able to hang out and work with Brandon Briggs a fair bit during that race. He got a good result as well. So it was a good time. I had finally said I was probably not quite aggressive enough. I just got a little bit gun shy of trying to put any blocks on Gabe, and yeah, let's say beaten by experience, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gabe winning these races left and right between Thursdays and Sundays. He is absolutely dominating the start of this season. And to show you that, folks, just a quick glance. It's early in the season, not going to go into too big a detail about it, but here's just to show that dominance that Gabe Butler's had here. Already a commanding lead in the points, Gael. Look at that. I believe that's 13 points ahead of second place. But second on back, you could put a lot of those guys under a blanket there. So definitely these top runners starting to mix it up early on here. And we're seeing a lot of familiar faces here in the top 18 that we see so far.
Yeah, definitely some of the heavy hitters we're used to seeing, like you said. Obviously, Gabe up there, Seth Groover, Vicente Guerrero. Definitely expect to see those guys. What I like to see is some of the newer guys, but then also some of the guys that have just really stepped it up. Brandon Briggs, obviously up to second, like I said, had a great run last week. And then yeah, Carl Henderson's right there, Josh Lassen, some of the closed circuit teammates there. So I say there's some new names, new faces. Matt Wagner had a good run going in Atlanta. Unfortunately, I was hoping it was going to be between us for the win, but unfortunately, he got caught up in that late incident, didn't quite have a chance to try to go for the win. And I know that's the Matt doesn't care about points in this series. He just wants to win a super speedway race because he knows how hard it is. And despite Gabe and Kevin and company making it look so easy, I think that's on the top of his list is to get a big win here. And we will not hear the end of it once he does get one.
Absolutely. Matt, definitely a racer at heart. Does good in these races, finds himself there at the end, but kind of gets antsy from what I've seen and makes those moves a little too early and kind of gets shuffled out to the back there just a little bit. But Guy, I already see you chiming in. We got a couple guys in the chat saying this is where all the cool kids hang out. Absolutely. Area 51 Super Speedway action's where it's at. Robert Rock, driver in the field here, saying thanks for the broadcast. Thank you, Robert, for coming out here and racing with these boys. And yeah, we're going to have a great night here tonight, Gael. And it's getting ready to kick off here. Qualifying is underway. Some of these guys still out making their laps. So as they're doing that, Gael, what is your things to watch for here at Talladega tonight? We've been to Daytona to kick off the season. Then we went to 1.5 miles at Atlanta where handling was kind of a big deal. Now we're at one of the biggest tracks we go to. Still got iRacing Super Speedway looming in the background for next week, but this big oval, you can go 3 and even 4 wide if you need to. So with the way the season started off and how tense you saw the action was last week, what are you looking for here tonight from these truckers?
Yeah, we'll definitely see a lot of 3 wide racing, but I think the storyline for us tonight is going to be fuel mileage, as odd as that sounds, because from everything I've seen, and the other thing is it's a build week, so lots of things possibly changing. There's always those little patches that happen as well. So there was a build update today. A lot of drivers had to do their updates before they hopped in here. And so what I've been hearing is fuel mileage a little bit down from what they're used to seeing. So we actually might not be having a 3-stop race tonight, looking at a 4-stop race here tonight. So that could be very, very intriguing to see what happens there strategy wise. Maybe that's going to split up the pit strategies a little bit. But it could definitely mean the field spreading out as well if there's any little hiccups. So I think that's going to be what I'm watching the most on that one, is going to be the fuel mileage. And again, it might be because of the build, I'm not sure, but looks like qualifying has just completed here though, Maxwell. So we're about to get rolling here.
Absolutely, and we got to bring up that starting lineup here. Kevin Freeze nabbing pole position here tonight. Alongside him, teammate Gabe Butler, Team Bootknocker, definitely locking up that front row. James Moe in there in the third position. Vicente Guerrero in fourth. And Dean Wilkinson rounding out your top five. Gael, I'm going to give you 6th through 10th, buddy.
That sounds good. So in that row 6, you got Josh Hanner, Matt Wagner there in the 11th and 12th positions. Then going on there down, you got Les Levy, Jimmy Reynolds, and next to each other, Brad Slagle, David Bone, 15th and 16th. Continuing on, you have Ryan Decker, Timmy Reed, and then rounding out our top 20 is Mike Rimkus and Richard A. Sanchez in the 20th spot. And then I said, looking to see for who put down lap times and qualifying. At some point, obviously, we're going to be losing a couple of those guys that didn't put a lap down. Then you got Robert Jordan and Carl Henderson. And then 22nd, 23rd, you have Josh Lassen and Chris Bassini. What I'm looking right there, too, is that's a lot of the closed circuit drivers right together. They're 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So starting mid-pack, I'd say, but don't expect them to stay there too long.
Absolutely, and rounding out the rest of your field here, Robert Rock for TW there in the 25th spot, Gary Winters in 26th, Jim Brooks in the field tonight in 27th alongside his buddy Bud Steele, Bob Fitzgerald in the 08 there in the 29th spot, and Rudy Doden rounding out your top 30 here tonight. Todd Siebels there in 31st. And the last and final position on the grid here tonight in 32nd is Brandon Briggs. So, right on cue as we see these drivers starting to take off here, Gael. We got one big pace lap to kind of go over some of these things. Now it's time to see what these drivers are feeling, what they're experiencing. You've got some teammates up here on the front row. You know they're going to want to work together. But at the same time, we know there's a lot of other guys. You talked about Team Extreme here earlier tonight. Vicente Guerrero's mixed up there in the mix as well. And you got some one-off guys like Seth Groover here and Matt Wagner that don't care about team. They just want to get up there and win at all costs. So definitely going to be a mixed bag of strategies here tonight. But how aggressive do you think they go early on with the interesting fuel mileage we've got here tonight?
I think that's going to be the question is, what the fuel mileage, what the strategy is going to be. Do you want to, like I said, do you want to go off strategy? Because this is really something that they haven't practiced for. They're used to that pitting around lap 19, 20, the 3-stop race. So this fourth stop is going to really change, I think, how you want to run this thing. So I'm going to be very interested to see what they do. But I do expect to see the 25 and 88 try to get hooked on together. But like I said, Team Extreme definitely building some drivers in their group here. I think they have about 5 or 6 strong, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, looks like a bunch of TW guys are back. Glad to see them here on track. Like I said, closed circuit. They've got, I think, 4 drivers on track. I think Matt Wagner might actually kind of try and partner up with them a little bit. So watch for the one to tag along with those guys. And then, like I said, Seth Groover, if you're fast, he'll work with you is pretty much what's going to happen for that 02 truck. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm anxious to see kind of what the strategies are going to be. And we're going to start to see that third lane pretty quick. I'm going to say maybe – I don't think they'll wait till lap 2, but I'm going to say lap 2 at the latest we'll see that third lane start to form.
Absolutely. Going to be a lot of action here tonight. You know how these truckers are at Talladega, folks. You've followed along for many a season before, and here we are kicking it off for race 3 of the Area 51 Super Speedway Truck Series. You've got Kevin Freeze and Gabe Butler bringing them through the tri-oval, and in just a moment we're going to see the green flag come out, and there it is. Green is out, and we are underway at Talladega Super Speedway. Side by side, these rows are heading off into turn 1. Kevin Freeze looks like he's going to get the early lead, but it won't take long for that outside lane to build momentum.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. The inside line always prevails going through 1 and 2 on that restart, but then the shift goes to that second lane where Gabe is going to get a great push. That's saying you got one of the best pushers behind him with Vicente Guerrero, so Gabe is definitely liking that 4th place driver there right behind him. And then, yeah, now it's just that dash towards the turn number 3. And right there, again, you see Gabe just a nose ahead. But then again, shorter distance going to start to help Kevin around. And it's going to be pretty tight there at the line, just again, based on where they are in track. And then, of course, where the tri-oval is here at Talladega. It's going to be kind of neck and neck between that 25 and the 88 to lead lap number 1.
Absolutely, and a lot of points on the line. Kevin Freese not really having the race he wanted last week, where Gabe Butler's had a picture-perfect season. And who's it going to be? Looks like Gabe Butler going to get that first lap led. And not only that, he's going to clear to the bottom, leaving a dangerous weapon ready to go on the outside in Vicente Guerrero, the 14th, building up steam in that second lane. Got a lot of Team Extreme guys back there, but also a face we haven't seen here in a while, some old school veteran Area 51 drivers from back when I was racing a lot, Gael, and that's Everett Lane there in that 24 truck. He is definitely showing his strength early on, and man, what a super speedway racer he is, isn't he?
Yeah, no, Everett is definitely one to watch. And also, I'll say we talked about, I said probably about before lap 2, and that's exactly what we're seeing is Les Levy jumped to the third lane, picked up Matt Wagner. Looks like the 17, Jimmy Reynolds, going to go with him, and they're going to try to make that third lane work. But yeah, no, that 24 truck, Everett Lane, he is always one to watch in these super speedway races. He doesn't have his normal crew that he's been racing with a lot of times with the regulators, but I think he's kind of teamed up over with the boot knockers. So that's just going to make that team even stronger because, again, you know how fast he is. And it's like the last thing they need is more help, but he's going to definitely be in good company with those guys.
Absolutely, and Gael, I've been in the field with Everett plenty of time and done a few super speedway races with him. Super speedways weren't my bread and butter. I like to mix it up, but Everett was a tough competitor on these super speedways. If there's a guy that's going to make a move like we see James Moen doing there on the outside lane, it's going to be Everett. He's going to make a big move, and he's not afraid to put a big block on you there. But speaking of that big move, you got two fast guys in the 7 and the 14 now hooked up. The 14 in between some Team Extreme guys. Looks like that may be who Vicente tries to work with, because obviously working with Team Boot Knocker has not been to his advantage because he keeps losing the races to him each week. So maybe trying to find friends in different places here tonight. But someone else that we're not used to seeing up front early on and is definitely solidly in this top 5 is that 55 of Dean Wilkinson. Did not get to take the start, I believe, last week. Something had happened, was not able to take the green, not able to finish the race. But here tonight, and definitely doing his best to stay up here and make up as much points as he can and possibly even get a lap led here.
Oh, big wiggle there for that 7 with the push from that 14. Got extremely loose, somehow hung on to it there. But that was definitely a moment for those guys right at the front of the field. And now that third lane really starting to kick off. And you mentioned the 24, he'd be the one to want to make a move. And he saw the third lane form. He saw the 0-2 there of Seth Gruber. He said, yep, I'm going to hop right up there. I want to take advantage of that push if I can, and see if I can make my way to the front from that third lane. He's going to fall back a bit, but then wait for the momentum to shift. He'll get back up there. But you're right about Dean, though. Usually, like I said, he usually kind of just calm, cool, collected, but he's decided to be up front and push early. I say kind of the opposite of Todd Siebels right now, who's kind of cruising shotgun in the field, just biding this time, doing the typical Todd Siebels thing. But again, once we get towards the final pit stop, watch for that 45. He will most likely be in that top 5, top 10 battle.
Absolutely, yes. Looks like definitely going to be the case here. And Gael may even look like, as you were talking about those drivers, was trying to see, it looks like my timing and scoring still not working quite right with large fields of cars. Me and you afterwards still need to look at that. Yeah. But we will make sure to bring you most of the action. Looks like I'm only missing about 3 or 4 drivers currently in the field. So sorry, folks at home. Probably shades of Daytona all over again here, but we will make it work for you. But all the action is right here up front. And you talked about Everett Lane. Look at him there with the 0-2 of Seth Gruber. What a dynamic duo those two are. And look at them making a big run by themselves all the way to that front row. And it looks like the 2 truck of Hanner going to go with him.
Yeah, Hanner liked what he saw there. He's going to jump up. That's just going to speed them up even more, because it's going to really, I'm not going to say slow down the middle lane, but you kind of get that separation. That slows that line down a little bit, because that third truck, it's really important for them to stay as close to the 2 in front as he can to kind of help keep that momentum built up. But yeah, I'm looking, those closed circuit trucks, they're starting to creep forward. I see the 2s right there, the 1s right there, the 09s in the mix here as well. So they decide they want to try to get towards the front here early on because, like I said, Gabe's kind of had it nice and pretty here on the inside line once he got clear of Kevin. But again, though, we're already starting lap number, or so we're on 7 coming to 8 now. So in theory, this could be starting to get almost to the halfway point of this fuel run. So at some point, we're going to have to see those guys probably start dropping down. I mentioned the closed circuit. There's also Carl Henderson, the 28 truck up top behind his teammate in the 2 of Hanner. So yeah, so the closed circuit guys have said, yeah, we're not going to ride. We're ready here. We want to race. And so, yeah, we've got 3x3. Looks like about, 5-6 rows deep now.
Absolutely. These truckers came here tonight ready to race. Not disappointing here so far. We are lean, mean, and green starting lap 8 here, getting to the midway point of the lap, and these guys aren't settling down. They're not happy where they are. Look at James Moen with a big push from the 14, getting squirrely again, but definitely trying to make moves and really just shaking all over the place, almost like he doesn't want that 14 tucked up under him.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's funny, but the straightaway, especially the backstretch, since it's so flat, that's where the trucks are the most unsettled. You kind of get just a little bit lighter in the rear. And so really that in the trial is where these trucks are the least planted. So you got to, like I said, you got to be square with the truck. You got to make sure you're not drifting left or right and you get just a little off-centered or kind of drift a little bit one way or the other while you're locked on. That's exactly what you're going to see out of James. Is it's going to upset his truck and just makes it super sketchy. And it's one of those you just death grip the wheel and you hope that you hang on to it. And every run around you is doing the same thing, like just hold on to that truck. And I saw, as soon as that happened, I saw the 79 of Mike Rimkus. He actually dropped to the bottom there on the backstretch, making sure he saw that he had an out just in case anything happened. So these drivers are all aware of what's going on around them.
Absolutely no lack of action here up front. These guys running super tight now. But we've also got Gabe Butler in that 88 just silently ticking off some laps here. These guys are trying to put a stop to him, but that 88 definitely getting some laps led, and those laps led are just more bonus points to pad that lead. I don't know if James got that one or if Gabe did. That was awfully close there at the line, but since we know that's happened, Gaio, we talked about this pre-race. There's one thing that we, in all the broadcasting, that we try to test beforehand, but there's one thing we just can't. We've got to test it in the action. We're going to see if that lap lead has affected any of the current point standings here. Going to try to bring those up to you, and yeah, it hasn't changed those, so that's something we needed to know there, folks. So got that out of the way. Going to bring the tower back up here for you so that you can see where your favorite driver's running at here tonight. And again, no driver is out of the race just yet. That's just where my iRacing settings, for some reason, are not picking up the entire field. It's a continuing process we're working on there. So we'll hopefully get that ironed out within the next couple of weeks. But, man, the outside lane, that third lane's really dissipated, but there's 2 guys out there still trying to make it strong.
Yeah, I think that's hey, we're going to be thinking about pit stops here pretty soon because now we're already on lap number 11, which means, again, probably about 5 more laps till pits. The drivers that I'm going to be watching, though, on the fuel mileage, I don't expect to see Eric Laurie do any strategy. He'll pit with his teammates because he's 4th on the inside line. But the ones that I'm going to be curious about are the 2 right behind him, that 411 of Tom Dixon, the 052 Brad Slagle. They've been pretty much cruising on the inside line. You can save a lot of fuel down low here. And so I'm thinking that some of these trucks might be able to stretch their fuel mileage a little bit further than those that have been up front all race long. And again, I think it won't matter. I think everybody's going to have a 4-stop race in this one, pending, of course, everything going green. But I think no matter what, I don't think anybody can stretch enough to make it a 3-stopper. But someone's going to try if that opportunity is out there. So we'll see if it's going to be one of those pace versus outright speed competitions here. But yeah, watch to see it because, again, with the way this thing is set up, these guys can maybe go a little different on their strategy as well. Maybe short pitting a little bit, try to separate themselves from the field.
Absolutely. Could be a strategy for sure. But if there's anything I've seen in the last couple seasons here, when you see the boot knocker guys pit, they're going to make it to the end, okay? So I would follow probably whatever strategy they do. But you see more and more drivers really starting to weasel their way down to that inside lane. As you see Seth Groover ditching Everett out there in the outside. And Everett's kind of in a tough spot here. That inside lane is starting to fill up fast. If he's going to get down there, it's probably going to take a little bit of time here. But 2 lanes side by side still. These guys still not giving up front. But Like you said, Gael, these guys really looking at pit stops, and look at the big snaking line there on the bottom.
Yeah, and I was listening on the radio as well, and saying Everett basically he was giving a saw there. Les Levy keyed up, said, "Hey, come on down to the middle. You've got room." So Les rolled out of it a little bit, let Everett drop to the middle lane. So really respectful there by Les. And again, make those right calls, because let's say you make a friend early, they might be willing to repay you later on in the race. So like what I see out of Les there, because again, it's an easy thing to do now. You won't want to do it later, but now you have someone that maybe is like, hey, that was a nice move by the 62 truck. I'll work with him later if we get to that opportunity.
Absolutely. Guys are finding out who their friends are early on here, aren't they? A lot of heavy hitters up front. A lot of guys taking it easy right now, very deep into this run. A lot of guys just lining up on the bottom, getting ready for that elusive pit stop. And as much as I want to talk about the action up front, Gael, we're getting ready here when we cross the start-finish line in just a few moments to start lap 15. And we know pit stop window is going to be between lap 16 and lap 18 from what we hear from these drivers in practice. So definitely going to be interesting on who tries to come at the earliest part of that fuel window and who tries to stay out those extra 2 laps. Because if you've got 4 stops, I mean, that's 8 extra laps of fuel you could save. And that would be the difference in a green-white checkered or not, right, Gael?
Yeah, it could be a green-white checker difference. It also could be your final pit stop could be a lot shorter than the other trucks. These pit stops usually are pretty quick in general, because it's usually about a full can of fuel and then you're backing out underway. And then again, also you got to make sure your lap times are up to par as well. If your lap times are a little slower when the other drivers pit, then you want to react quickly, because you don't want to lose the main pack. And that's going to be the key, I think, for this one. But what I'm worried about, though, is those drivers that are, I'd say, in the mid-teens on back, starting pretty much actually right around the single file pack, right around that 20 spot Timmy Reed and company. I don't want to be pitting a couple seconds back off out of the lead, because, again, any little mistake you make is just going to get that much more amplified by the gap that you're already behind. So, but so far, nobody blinking. We're going to come to lap 16. As you saw, Matt Wagner drop to the inside as soon as he got his opportunity. But yeah, right now these guys definitely looking like they're just going to try to stretch it as far as they can. But also definitely showing that just how strong that inside line is with that 88 and 25. But again, though, you look at who's sitting there third and fourth, that 55, the 071. I mean, that's a very stout foursome of drivers there. 3 boot knockers and Dean Wilkinson. I mean, we know how good Dean is as well. So that's why I think that second line hasn't been able to compete against these 4 so far.
Absolutely. Absolute veterans of Area 51 showing up here at Talladega Superspeedway. But keeping our eyes on this front pack. Oh, big movement into Vicente. That's going to be a big wreck there. Trying to get to it. Oh, big wreck. Can't even keep up with Vicente's car. Wow, big hit, and that's going to be the yellow. And now we're going to be dealing with guys maybe running on fumes, trying to make it back around to pit road. But a big incident there for one of our points contenders early in this season. 7th in points coming in. Vicente Guerrero. It's very interesting. We've already got one driver on pit road, probably from wrecked damage. But, Gael, we're going to see if we can, as the ticker's going crazy here, we're going to see if we can go back and try to find that yellow flag and see just what happened here.
Yes, I'm trying to find it myself. And I believe, unfortunately, from where I'm looking at, it looks like it started between the 14 and the 411. And honestly, it looks like it's a fair bit of net code between those 2 trucks. There is still a couple feet between them, but unfortunately, just a big net code situation. That's when everybody was starting to stack up to try to get to the bottom. And unfortunately for Vicente, kind of got the worst end of that. And then you see Everett there just in the absolute wrong place, wrong time as well. And then you see at that point, the accordion effect, Matt Wagner gets a piece of it as well. You see that, I believe that's the 510 of Richard Sanchez as well. So fortunately, a number of trucks caught up in this one. They do have the one faster pair there. Oh, you see the Napa truck also gets a little piece, try to drift through the grass almost to avoid it. So tough break for a lot of those guys. But you're right, those right on the edge of the pit window. So I'm sure a lot of these guys just basically sip and fuel as best they can to make it on pit road. And looks like everybody's good to go to get on there. But yeah, so tough break for some of those guys involved. But they do have that one faster pair should they need it.
Absolutely, but here we go talking about pit road drivers heading down right now. going to see what we've got going on here as pit stops are underway. They were right in that fuel window to not have to make a green flag stop, but now it's really important to get in your stall, get in and get out, and this might be your chance to take 4 tires if you want to do that early to keep the tire strategies for later. But looks like a lot of guys maybe going just fuel only here for this first stop. And that's kind of surprises me since it's under yellow, but definitely a big race off pit road there, Guile.
Yeah, no, looking at the pit stops, yeah, very, very quick. Looks like most drivers, I would think, either fuel only or maybe left side tires. I did see, I believe, again, some strategy for some drivers. I think driving through pit road, if I'm not mistaken. Ryan Decker, Brad Slagle, I think they drove through. It's going to give Ryan a lap lead in the 61 truck, and then he'll be able to jump into pit road this time by and go ahead and pit now this next time and not lose anything. The other thing is, I'm not sure, but I believe, oh yeah, Brandon, I heard on the radio, Brandon Briggs was saying he was out of fuel in the 63 truck. He mentioned some drivers might be low. He actually ran out, coasted as far as he could, then had to take a tow, unfortunately. So the hope is that maybe the tow will be quick enough, since he was pretty close to pit road. He'll have a chance to get fuel on that truck and then get back going and not lose a lap. Because right now, I think the only truck that might be in trouble. No, actually, looks like everybody's rolling. So I think he would be the only truck one down as they run. So I'll have to keep an eye on the timing and scoring to make sure that's accurate.
Absolutely. Yeah, tough break for those guys. That caution coming out right in one of those fuel windows there. So working lap 18 of 75 and, made it quite a while. Thought we were going to get green flag stops there without a yellow. And Guile, with the past couple weeks, these truckers being amped up, are you surprised it took that long to get our first yellow? I mean, it seems these guys aren't even side drafting very hard, kind of just taking it nice and easy so far here tonight.
Yeah, no, they've been playing nice so far for sure. Obviously, I think, and they know, again, with the fuel situation, it's like, hey, the make or break of this race is probably going to be the pit stops. And again, the incident there was no intent or anything like that. It was just unfortunately some bad net code situations. So yeah, just unfortunate on that front. So we're gonna see a bunch of trucks look like top off as well. So
an interesting
again,
strategy here with that
strategy. Yeah, so a little bit of a split bag. Looks like the boot knockers actually stay out. Usually there are two that love to actually top off as well, but I think they like that track position that they had. But they're gonna have some Team Extreme now lined up right behind them. So it's actually kind of a boot knocker Team Extreme. You got the front row boot knocker, second row Team Extreme, and then you got a split in that third row, and then also right behind them Tom Dixon and 411. So right now Team Extreme has the numbers over boot knocker with, it looks like, about 4-3. But again, right now the boot knockers have the front row control. So it'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely. Seeing our top drivers here as we are under 1 to go here. And are you surprised at the split strategy there? Dean Wilkinson running up front, staying out of the wrecks, right there around a bunch of guys he trusts. And then he pulls down pit road with those other two to top off. Do you think he didn't know those guys stayed out, or do you think he's wanting to play a fuel game here and maybe the extra lap now could play big dividends later in the race?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a strategy, because right now we're going to restart this thing on lap 20 of 75. So basically, of course, pending going green, we're scheduled to go, it'll be basically 56 laps to the end. And that's why I'm trying to look at my fuel numbers now to see where that would put us here to make it on 2 more stops potentially.
Oh.
And yeah, I think if they can go 18 laps, maybe, I think one stint might have to be 19. There's an absolute edge of making this a 2-stop race, whereas if you're pushing full send, I think you're going to stop to 3-stop it. So that might be the strategy for these drivers that topped off, which is going to, again, you're going to have a big line of trucks though on that inside line who topped off. So that's going to be the next thing, of course, is to make sure you get a good restart here.
Absolutely. Interesting strategy there. Could go both ways and go into the back of a big line with 30 trucks still in the field. I mean, that's an easy way to save a lot of fuel here. But here is your running order as the pace truck pulls in. Gabe Butler brings us back to the green flag. Kevin Freeze will be second. James Mohan third. Michael there in the 00 in fourth. Eric Lurie in the top 5. David Bond in sixth. And a big start there and an early one for Gabe Butler. Gets all these guys single file. And Gael, the train may be beginning here Some of these guys, though, may be trying to do the Team Bootnocker strategy and seeing if they can get a small pack breakaway from the rest of the pack. You think that might be the game plan here?
Yeah, I mean, right now everybody's gonna have to stay single file like they are. You saw, like you said, the 88-25, they got going just a tiny bit early. That way, Kevin and Gabe could get lined up since they were stuck side by side. And then, yeah, everybody reacted and tried to get lined up as well. And that's why you're seeing this big inside line train, pretty much actually from start to back here. So what's going to happen is there's just going to be a few spots where drivers are going to have to be careful not to lose the pack in front. But I'm looking at the intervals right now, and everybody's still within a second of each other. So I think we're going to, at some point, wind up in one big pack. But yeah, I mean, if I'm this group up here, it's Bootnocker Team Extreme, I stay together because right now you've just about got a second to Seth Gruber, who's about to get caught by Les Levy. And actually, Les is going to jump top here, try to take the momentum around the O2. And you got to be careful here because the more you go side by side, you're going to lose momentum. You got to make sure you don't lose touch here. So I'm sure Seth was hoping that they would stick with him. But right now, there's a little bit of indecision with these trucks on the second group here. And I mentioned it was about a second. It's now gone to about 1.2 seconds between the 6th and 7th position. Or sorry, 7th and 8th. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Some big decisions being made here, and we're just going to have to watch the ticker because sometimes, the side draft can hurt you, but others it can actually help speed up the pack just a little bit. So maybe they were finding more speed in the slingshot effect there. But we see these drivers think better of it and get back single file, and they're gaining a little bit of time there on that front pack. It's slowly but surely, but they're kind of moderating about a second and a half back and trying to slowly reel in. And since they do have a different driver leading, it does seem like that line is really starting to pick up momentum, Gael. So maybe the lead truck just wasn't the fast truck. Maybe that truck's better at pushing.
Yeah, and it just may have been a momentum thing too. Les felt a little safer to try to kind of jump around the O2 than to try to give him a big shot. But yeah, I mean, they're down to almost half a second, so they're good to go. So basically, we're guaranteed, it looks like, about 19 trucks here in this main pack now. However, there's now a big split between Dean Wilkinson and Joshua Hanner. It is sitting at about 2.5 seconds, so these guys are now going to have to really hustle. And you can see they're actually running side by side right now. Vicente pushing the 2, Matt Wagner right there as well. And then there's another gap from them back to the 5, 10, 45, and 66. So, yeah, unfortunately, a few trucks got the worst off of those. Going to be Bud Steele, Rudy Doden, notably, are the ones that really hurt the worst out of that one. So, yeah, so that restart, even just that little bit early they went, has really split this field up here. So, right now, we do have 19 this lead pack. And unfortunately, ticker going the wrong way for the second pack being led by that 2.
Absolutely. We see one driver here. Talked about him running out of fuel, and now he's back here all by himself there. Brandon Briggs in the 63. It's not looking good for him there. Already one lap down, says timing and scoring. And you can double check me on that, Gael, since my eye.
Yep, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, he's one down. And the problem is he's about half a lap from going 2 down now. So he's hoping that someone has an issue and brings out another yellow because he wants to be able to get back on the lead lap, as right now he's the only truck eligible for it. So if he can stay 1 down, he'd be able to then jump right back into the mix here. So, but yeah, the other thing though we mentioned is that big stack up, or not stack up, I should say, but the big spread out that we had in the field. Everybody had to be real aggressive on their fuel mileage. They had to push really hard there to stay in the draft. So really, there's only about 4 trucks, I believe, that stayed in the main pack there, in this front pack, I should say, after topping off. Josh Laston, the 09, is the first of those, and then Dean Wilkinson, Brad Slagle, Chris Passini, and Ryan Decker. Those are the other ones that made it in that pack. So unfortunately, everybody else that topped off, they're in that second pack, and so they are doing 0 fuel saving right now. I should say maybe not 0, but if they're trying to make it to the end, probably 0 fuel saving being done in this second pack.
Yeah, and up front, doesn't look like they're saving either. That's 62 getting a big push from the O2. Les Levy and Seth Gruber, they want to get to the front here. They'd kind of gotten side by side up to Kevin and kind of stalled out, but these 2 truckers are pushing hard again. And you see that bottom line kind of snaking a little bit, clipping that apron a little bit. And that apron's a very, very dangerous spot to be in, Gael. You can lose control of the truck very easily down there and cause a big accident if you're not careful.
Yes, apron very, very treacherous for sure. But the plus side, though, is Talladega is a little bit more forgiving than Daytona. The banking difference to the apron is a little less aggressive. And I think the next thing we got to talk about is unless something happened that I missed, I believe we're seeing some teamwork maybe trying to be worked on here. Because I'm seeing Carl Henderson, he's actually dropped back, it looks like possibly to pick up Josh Handner in the 28 and the 2 together. I'm not sure if that was by choice or if it's something that maybe happened to them or not. I'll have to go back and take a look, but yeah, I'm going to take back a look and see what happened to Carl because he has dropped back a fair bit from where he was in that main pack.
Absolutely. Trying to keep up with all the action, but just not able to see everything at once. But, man, some big players, and they're going to freight train by him here. They're not going to give Carl a chance hardly to get back in line. He's going to go all the way to the back of this big snake in line.
Yeah, and actually, no, I went back and I looked, and it was actually honestly a wreck that wasn't a wreck. He looks like he had a little bit of contact from Dean Wilkinson entering turn 1, slid right in front of the 51 of Jim Brewer. So I don't know how they didn't make contact, but unfortunately, it was just the momentum lost for Carl is what's dropped him down to that second pack. So unfortunately, actually nothing there. Just yeah. So and sounds like some excitement going on up to the front here. Going to go back up and take a look, and yeah, looks like the 1 and 61 just trying to make sure they get hooked back up there. So. It looks like all well still up in the front pack, but yeah. So unfortunately, a great save by Carl, but man, that was a moment for him though. He just barely slid across the down to the apron, like you mentioned, being so sketchy, but somehow held on to it and still has a truck in one piece at least.
Absolutely, but you talked about action up front. Les Levy here trying to make the pass on Gabe Butler. Got some help in that outside lane, and Guile, just look at the class of drivers that are up there in that outer lane. I mean, you've got Les Levy, Seth Groover, you've got Everett Lane, and you've got that 09 of Josh Laston. 4 guys that know how to get it done, and those 4 are definitely making it work here as they are side by side for the lead. The lap truck of Brandon Briggs is going to go 2 laps down here, but well out of the way here at Talladega. Now he's going to try to tag on to this pack and hope for the time being no one goes a lap down and a yellow comes out to give him at least 1 of those laps back.
Yeah, and that's the thing is he needs to try to drop a little lower. You can see right there, he's actually staying up in the third lane. Needs to drop lower there because he's right there as where he was. He was not picking up any steam there. He's just trying to play. He's trying to be extra courteous. The thing is, sometimes doing that might cost you the draft. It looks like he's going to tag onto the back of the 61 of Ryan Decker, so it looks like he'll be okay. But I always get nervous. I always want to get to the middle and pick up that draft as quick as I can, and then kind of gradually work into that bottom lane. So it looks like he should be okay. But right now, yeah, I mean, we're looking at the laps again, though. We got to start thinking about the fuel again because they hit at lap 17. We're up to 29. So again, probably another, I'd say 5 to 8 laps away roughly is kind of what I've been seeing from these guys. Especially again, if some drivers are committing to a 3-stopper to the end, they might decide, you know what, let's go ahead and again maybe go a little bit off sequence, try to split the field up. And I am looking at the lap times too, and unfortunately that second pack it's not going the right way for them. They're consistently at least half a second a lap or so slower than the main pack here, which again, I mean, you can look how well organized they are, Maxwell, with the 88, the 25, and then you got the 7 and the 00. I mean, they're like, it's almost like they're one truck. There's just so little side-to-side motion amongst the 4 of them.
Absolutely. The cream seem to rise to the top in these races, and when it's a fuel strategy deal, this is definitely what happens. And the 7 and the 00 kind of act like they're getting a little antsy. They might want to get some laps left, but they've got to clear Les Levy there on the outside before they can make a move. But those Team Boot Doctor guys do not need to count themselves safe. They've got Eric Lurie back there as their third teammate, 5th in line. But really, it's a 2x2 race here. Oh, and a big move. Seth Groover down to the bottom with Everett. Going to leave Les Levy out to dry here. That was an interesting move, but it looks like Seth might be trying to let Les in. Yeah, he's going to let him in. And you know what that means these truckers are thinking, right? The race is over. Time for pit stops.
They're thinking fuel mileage. I think they're being ready like, hey, we think these guys might be coming in soon. Or, again, maybe there's a strategy like, hey, let's split all these pit stops evenly. But the one that I've been watching, I'm curious to see, is going to be the 55 Dean Wilkinson. He topped off. He's the highest running of those that did top off. And he's been kind of just sitting there on the inside line. I feel like, again, probably being able to save fuel, just kind of run part throttle. Dean is definitely one that I would watch for fuel saving. I feel like he's kind of been living on the inside line as well. Then you jump a little further back. We mentioned him earlier there, the 052 of Brad Slagle. I feel like possibly in that same boat. We've seen some of the other guys kind of jump to the top and get a little bit aggressive at some points. Josh Laston, the 09 at one point, was up there as well. So, but yeah, we've got a single file train now back on the inside once again. So, yeah, I think everybody's making sure they're prepped for pit stops and do not want to get trapped at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Absolutely. And Gael, we're going to have to attend to this chat here. They're getting a little rowdy tonight. You see that, right? Muff Duff over here saying Gabe wins it all. Might as well end the broadcast now. Man, he has no faith that other drivers can't try to win this race tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I mean, the odds, let's say if you're a betting man, and say Gabe would definitely always be a good pick to be in the mix for these wins because of just how quick he is, how clean he is, and like I said, puts himself in the right place at the right time. But yeah, I mean, we're not even halfway in this one yet, so I'm yeah, especially with the time in this yellow. If we stay green, I hope, I'm probably more hope, I want somebody to try to pull the fuel strategy. But again, it's going to be all about if they have anybody to work with them to pull that strategy off. So we'll have to see on that one. And also, I think we must have missed something as well, because it looks like Bud Steele and Rudy Doden, I think this happened since the restart kicked off, but unfortunately, they actually lost the second pack. So they're kind of off on their own here. It looks like those two trucks. So same thing. They're really looking for a yellow as well. And I say, we'll see. But I think I just saw one driver, Mike or Kiep, saying he might be hitting pit road. And yeah, there he comes. It's going to be the second pack, Mike Rimkus. He's hitting pit road, but by himself. That's always a scary thing to have to be pitting on your own here. So we'll see where he merges out. But right now, it's going to see kind of who blinks first up front.
Absolutely. Such an interesting deal there. And as he starts to pit, you got to imagine some of these other guys, they've been in a draft, but the guy that's really killing all fuel mileage here is the guy getting pushed faster and not being able to lift, running those higher RPMs. Gabe Butler, I don't see where if he keeps leading, he's going to be able to pull much off. And there they all come down pit road, flocking in a bunch of drivers trying to get locked up and get down to speed. And looks like some of these guys might have got down a little better than Gabe. This could shake up who your leader is. Definitely a lot of them coming down the pit lane, though.
Yeah, and the other thing is they might need a little less fuel in the 88 truck, so that could actually let them propel in front of him here on this pit stop as well. So I'll say they got in really well. Now they got to make sure they hit their pit stall. No, there's contact. The 00 had a little bit of contact entering his pit stall. Not sure if it was with him and Dean Wilkinson or not, but looks like he's good to go again. Going to lose a little bit of time. They're all starting to roll out again. And yeah, look at that 7 truck. James Mohan, he's going to be the first one out. But here comes the reaction, though. That second pack that stayed out, they're going to come in right now. The 09, I believe, probably the 51, the 17. I'd expect to see them all jump in here as well.
And here they go. But they ran that one lap longer. I think that's going to pay huge dividends for some of these guys. Ooh, Jim Brooks locking it up. About made contact. Everybody gets down pit road safe and sound here, though. And they start coming into their pit stalls to get service. And I haven't been looking. Have you seen anybody taking tires yet, Gaio? Or is it still just fuel only for these truckers?
These have been really quick pit stops, under 10 seconds. So I'm going to be saying these are fuel only stops for these trucks as everybody's trying to get themselves sorted. And saying then the second pack just came in. So it was a bit of a mix of coming in and going out there at the same time. So it got really tight there. But here comes those leaders. They're just rolling through the trial. Well, now the 7 truck leading the way. So it's going to be Ryan Decker trying to pick up the speed and get through the gears quickly here. But there they go. They're going to get blown away here right off the bat. So that first pit stop is definitely going to separate this pack a little bit. We'll see how many we have. I believe it's going to be about a 9 truck breakaway for the moment. From James Mohan back to Timmy Reed in the 67 truck. And there's going to be work to do from Ryan Decker on back. They're going to have to grab a gear and try to get aggressive on that pushing to get back up there.
Absolutely. The lap they saved in fuel might get burned trying to catch the pack here, Gaio. It's going to be very interesting for us to see, but we're just slightly past halfway here. and these truckers have all come down, and I believe they've all made their pit stops, correct?
Yep. Pit stops have completely cycled. So I'm going to say this is a 3-stop to the end, or now 2 stops from here, I should say, to the end for everybody. I don't see anybody being able to make it all the way. Unfortunately, we did have 2 trucks, it looks like, that got caught out speeding on entry, and that is going to be Eric Laurie and Robert Rock, unfortunately. So those guys are going to, I believe, both fall a lap down already in the 071 and the 171. So yeah, tough break for those guys. But right now, though, yeah, James Mohan leading the way. He's lost some of his partners there, but he's done exactly what he needs to do to be, at least for the moment, be in control of this race. But now it's going to be all about lap time again. Maxwell watching from the lead pack. That was a 50-50 last time. I want to see what they run this time, because this is going to be the apples to apples lap, because now that second pack is fully up to song. Let's see, James Mohan ran a 50-75. Now he dropped back to that second pack, being led by Brad Slagle. 50-54 by he and a 00, so actually about a quarter of a second quicker. And they're starting to get themselves organized and lined up here, and looks like also picking up some draft from Robert Rock. So they're going to try to use him as like a little bit of a rope, pull themselves just a little bit closer, but they're going to need to get a little more still.
Absolutely. And Gael, we've got them all running single file, trying to see if these packs can catch one another. While we've got a moment and a little break in the action, we're going to give you a chance to test your speakers out there at home. If you've got a surround sound system, got us coming through the TV, or if you've just got a banging computer set up with some speakers, crank them up, because it's time to hear these trucks roar around the Talladega Superspeedway. It's happened, folks. The second pack is there. You saw it all during Crank It Up, and here it comes. Seth Groover leading that second pack here, and they have made it to the main pack, and here they go splitting off side by side. Perfect timing to get a Crank It Up in, because now the action's getting hot and heated here as the big runs start coming, Gael.
Yeah, I know. It was great work by those 2 Team Extreme trucks up top there. The 052 Brad Slagle, the 00 Michael Mayu. I mean, they hooked up and they were making some time. They were working really well together. So now the question is, James Mohan, does he stay on the inside line? It looks like the answer is going to be yes. Oh, as soon as that happens, 052 disappears for a second. Now he's back. So yeah, so that single file train, once everybody got together, they started to jump back double file now. So now we have a 16 truck lead pack here. We do have a couple split packs, and unfortunately some are smaller than others, and it's
we're getting
unfortunately
4 wide here
big
for
gap.
a moment, and they make it
yeah.
work. Sorry to interrupt, but that was 4 wide, and we just don't see that often. But that 052, knowing he's got connection issues, going to try to drop back to the end of this pack and just ride it out until at least closer to the end. So definitely some switching up going on up here, but those front 3 still looking the same. You've got a strong line there on the bottom, Gaio, with those top 4. James Moen, Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, and Dean Wilkinson just making the bottom lane work. But this top lane starting to show up here, and got some lappers involved here too. If you notice, we've got Bud Steele in this pack, kind of mixing it up, seeing what he can do here, seeing if maybe even he can get that lap back with a timely caution.
Yeah, and Bud has to be aggressive here, because if you go back about 2 trucks, the 171 of Robert Rock's right there, the 071 Eric Lorry's right there. So he cannot, he can't back down. He has to stay aggressive on this one. So just unfortunate on that one. But yeah, these guys are definitely going after it now. They're actually catching a couple of trucks here in just a moment. The 08 looks like a Bob Fitzgerald, and the 411 of Tom Dixon. Unfortunately, also drivers that got caught with penalties on pit road, so they're going to get trapped. I believe this is going to put them 2 down if I'm not mistaken. So it's just a tough night gone worse for them. So they're going to need a little bit of a break here. But yeah, like I said, some new names, new face up front. The 67, Timmy Reed, he's done a great job right now. He is up 12 spots from his starting position to be up right around the top 5 here. Doing a great job pushing that outside line and letting Michael Mayu have a chance here to try to get a lap led around his teammate in that 7.
Absolutely, Timmy Reed doing a fantastic job being the pusher here on this outside lane, and we got a great camera work to see just how hard it is to sit there and stay in line. We talk about the draft, and Gael, it's like a big snake, isn't it? Just weaving the air, pushing these trucks all around. You've got to remember, these trucks are doing some pretty intense speeds here, and it gets fast quick as we pull the dashboard up with Timmy Reed, almost 190 into the corners. And as you look from the back camera there, we see the 0-2 of Seth Groover working forward, but just look at that consistent speed around this track. And these trucks don't have the motor that the Cup cars do, but man, these things are still trucking at almost 190 down this straightaway.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, yeah, and when you get them locked on, let's say you can make a bunch of speed with them. Saying that's just going to be that much more fun next week, because then we go to iRacing Superspeedway, and that touching 190 is going to be turned into about touching 230. Those things are going to be hauling the mail at iRacing Superspeedway. That's going to be something else to watch as well. So that'll be fun for next week. So definitely keep an eye out on that one. And then we talked about the strategy. Look at the 171 Robert Rock. Again, he's a lap down, but now with him jumping to the 3rd lane, he can challenge Bud Steele in case we get a timely yellow. He could maybe be in the right spot at the right time. So that's why you see the 171 taking the gamble, going up top here, trying to see if he can maybe get that Loki Dog position. But, you see Dean Wilkinson down on the apron, sliding it there.
Dean sliding big time. Gonna have to see.
Saves it.
Gonna have to see what we got here. We're actually gonna see if we can see what happened while it was so close. I know this isn't normal, but did he just get loose here?
Apron. Look at the apron right there.
We talked about it, the apron being your enemy here, but what a save for Dean Wilkinson there in the 55. Going to go back live here for you, and yeah, that's going to cause him to lose a little bit of position, and he might lose the draft because of one mistake of clipping that apron.
Yeah, and this might be where Dean maybe pulls a little bit of a strategy call, because we're at 29 to go here. If you don't think you're going to catch back up to this pack, I would say jump in pit road. But I'm actually watching his interval between himself and Jimmy Reynolds in the 17 truck in front of him, and it's actually ticking the right way. He's actually gained a couple of tenths this last lap. I think he's just picking on the back of Bob Fitzgerald there to kind of pull himself back in here. I think Bob's actually trying to roll out a little bit to pick up Dean as well. But if I'm Dean here in the next lap or two, if I notice that if I'm going the wrong way, I tuck in pit road as fast as I can, because you're in the window now where you can make it here on 2 more stops, or I should say when you pit here to make it on 1 more stop. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if that comes into play. But yeah, I think Dean kind of got that rope, if you will, from the 08, and he actually, Bob backed himself up all the way to Dean. Really, really good camaraderie there by those two, and now that ticker's going very well the right way, so Dean's not going to lose the draft. So But hats off to Bob Fitzgerald there to pick up Dean and help him get back to his pack.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we're all racers here, Gael. You're a racer. I'm a racer. We love to race. And, you know, we always say the motorsports community tries to stay with each other. As competitive as we are, plate racing just ain't the same without the help. And what a big run they have, Gael. Oh, and it's going to get Bob loose. He saves it, though. But now all that work they just made, they're going to have to do all over again here, Gael. But they had a big head of steam catching the back of that pack. Oh, and we got a yellow.
Yeah. Caution's down. I think it was around the number 2 truck of Joshua Hanner, who was in the separate pack. So this is great news for those trucks that had lost the main pack. So he will have to go try to see if we can find what exactly happened to him here. So it was in a pack a ways back here. And I think it's just looks like tandem gone wrong between, oh, yeah, the 2 and the 510. They were trying to tandem to keep time up, and nothing intentional, just unfortunately caught the 2 in a bad spot, and he was trying to get back out onto track, and just got a little too aggressive on the throttle, and that looped him back around, and at that point iRacing throws the yellow there. So
great commentary there, because we caught him after he was already backwards. He was far enough out of the shot that wasn't quite rendered in until we went finding him. So definitely got it looped around. Didn't look like he took anybody else out. Just tandem gone wrong here.
Yeah, just solo spin, yeah.
So now it's time to see strategy here with coming to 25 laps remaining when we come past the checkered flag, the start-finish line again. And this is going to get interesting, Gael. 25 to go. I know they're not going to be able to make it on fuel right now, but it's going to change when these guys make their final stop. So it's going to be interesting to see who stays out to wait for a yellow, who wants to pit early on and get it out of the way. And if we have a mad dash of all 30 of these guys, there's not a lot of guys out of this race yet, Gael. I don't know if really anybody is out just yet. So
no, I think we still have 29 trucks possibly still in the lead lap here. So yeah, there's still a bunch of, 25 or 26 trucks I think still on the lead lap here. So I did see Mike Rimkus here hit pit road a little early. I'm a little concerned about that for the 79. I'll keep an eye on him. But yeah, here comes the field though onto pit road. And again, this will be the second to last stop. Like you said, Maxwell, it's going to open up a pretty big window of when to make that final pit stop.
Absolutely. It's going to be huge here. But you see these guys all just like an art form here, pulling into their pit stalls, coming and checking it out. Oh, one looked like maybe drove through the Napa car.
Yeah, that was Mike. And what he did there, again, with the way iRacing is, there's no contact box in the pit stall. So what he decided to do was he felt it was safer to just drive through the pit stalls. That way he wouldn't risk contact with any of the leaders there. So I know exactly what he did and why he did it. I say not trying to gain an advantage or anything. It was just trying to make sure he didn't affect any of the leaders there. And Ken mentioned the 10 of Bud Steele does get the lucky dog. So Bud Steele back on the lead lap. He was able to hold off the challenges of Robert Rock and Eric Laurie. And that's exactly what that 10 truck was looking for.
Absolutely. Well, while these guys finish their pit stops up, we're going to take our first break of the evening, and we'll bring you back with the one to go to get everything reset. You're watching Area 51 Superspeedway Truck Series action at Talladega Superspeedway. We'll be back. All right, back to reset the order with you here. 24 laps remaining, to be 23 to go at the line. And let's go through your top 10 here and show you these drivers and where they're at. James in the 7 there on the front row with Michael in the 00 teammate right beside him. Look for them two guys to hook up and work together to keep a commanding lead. And Team Boondocker guys been separated here. Timmy Reed now 3rd. Seth Groover having a strong night here tonight in the 4th position. David Bond in 5th. Ryan Decker there rounding out your top 6. Everett Lane, after using a fast repair early, going to have to be careful at this point. He is in the 7th position. Kevin Freeze is 8th, kind of far back from where he was. Brad Slagle 9th, and Les Levy your top 10. And you see it, folks. It's not your eyes deceiving you. The pace truck is pulling in, and these drivers are getting ready to take the green flag again in the hands of James Moen as we see him take the green right here and going to try to work with his teammate, probably get the jump and see if he can hook up with him. But Timmy Reed having nothing to do with that. He's going to push him way up there and see if he can break up the teammates, and that's exactly what's going to happen here, Gael, as they head into turn 1 out of turn 2.
Yeah, quick reaction right at 67. Didn't even give those two teammates a chance to get lined up. I mean, it's possible that Timmy might be part of that group as well. I mean, we don't know, obviously, the paint scheme-wise, you wouldn't think so. But again, these guys have a lot of affiliations. But also, though, add the 33, though, so David Bones right there with them as well. But I'm looking at that second lane, though. Seth Groover, he's got a good pusher behind that 61. Ryan Decker, I've seen what he can do on the next gen side of things on the super speedways. So I think he'll be just as good in the trucks as well. But right now, again, kind of getting that yellow line fest, if you will. But right now, looks like we've got pretty much, once again, the top 26 drivers. Oh, actually, Mike Rimkus on pit road here. Looks like I think maybe had a pit penalty there, unfortunately, having to serve. But yeah, it looks like other than maybe Robert Jordan, I think is going to lose this pack here, unfortunately, in the 74. But then pretty much from Todd Siebels on up, looks like they will hang on to that main pack. But like I said, up front, though, the question mark is going to be, when do you blink to hit pit road here? Window probably opens about 7 laps. They can probably go at most to about 7 or 8 laps to go. So do we see drivers go early? Do they go late? It's going to be fun to see what that strategy is going to be.
It's going to be interesting for sure. And, you know, the question I have, Gael, is not only when do you pit, but how aggressive do you drive here? Because if you can save fuel even in this 5-6 lap run, if you're going to try to pit at the earliest convenience, you're thinking the least amount of fuel possible because you want the least amount of time on pit road. So these guys going aggressive, they're going to have to put in just a little bit more fuel, aren't they? And that 1 second on pit road could be the difference in winning and losing this race tonight.
It really could. And the other thing too is, do you put your fuel in based on going to lap 75, or do you pit based on going to maybe lap 78, 79 if we get into the green-white checker territory? So there's a lot of strategy that these drivers have to figure out what to do. When you've got a big field of lead lap trucks like you do tonight, I would say you probably want to be a little bit conservative and add that tiny bit more fuel, because these fuel cans, they do fill these trucks up pretty quickly. But like you said, though, I mean, if you're in a spot where you feel like you need to gain every second you can, even tenths of a second, then yeah, you short fill this thing to basically just make it to the end. Oh, look at 67 on the apron, just hangs on to it there. That's going to slow down the inside line a ton. And look at those top 2, almost top 3, just about to clear here. We'll see, do they stay up top or do they drop to the bottom? Oh, look at that big move.
What a slice by Freeze there to the bottom. And it's going to bode well for him. Big momentum with the 7 pushing. That's going to get Freeze to the lead. And after the race last week, this is exactly what he needs to try to start rebounding to defend his title. Because definitely last week did not go the way he had planned, but big push. But now Kevin's used to being the pusher. He is avidly told us that he would rather push than lead because he feels like that's where he's strongest. Now he has to rely on other people, and we've seen it before where Kevin's leading here at Talladega, and he gets hooked either in the trioval or in one of the corners just from a bad bump. So is Kevin in his comfort zone, or is this not where he really wants to be right now?
He's up front, so I think it's exactly where he wants to be. However, look at the gap between the inside-outside line. The 7 could jump up if he chooses to, but staying committed to Kevin. looks like these two working very well together, even on competing teams. And that might be for James. There's just like, you know what? I don't want to give up the bottom here. I want to make sure that, again, if Kevin pits, I want to pit with him, because we've got, again, pit window. Again, if these guys can go 16 laps, it'd be about 3 laps until they officially it opens and they want to come in. I think probably 15, 14 go is probably the soonest you want to go, just to bank on the green, white checkered, kind of have that little bit of a buffer zone. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. But I'm seeing some new names adding to the face here. The 66 Gary Winters, he's jumped into the top 10 now. He is plus 18 from his starting spot. He's just been kind of waiting and biding his time. He's decided it's time to go now, saying, I mean, if you got a paint scheme like that on that truck, and maybe get in a little bit of intimidation factor on these trucks, because they don't want to add their splatter onto that truck.
Absolutely rocking a very interesting paint scheme here tonight. But just looking at this field of trucks, I mean, it's such a big pack, and a lot of guys maybe saving a little fuel, but with 18 to go here, coming to 17 to go, what do? We know we said the fuel window was 16 to 18 laps. You could technically pit here and take the least amount of fuel and try to make it. Will we have any takers this time? Doesn't look like it, and that bodes to my point here I'm about to make, Gael, that we haven't seen anybody really push past the 16 lap mark. 17 maybe at best, but no one really went for that 18 lap mark tonight. So fuel mileage probably worse than we could have imagined here tonight, on the lower end of the spectrum, but definitely going to have to keep our eyes up front here now with a wide camera view here. So we change that up, because pit stops could be coming at any moment, and we don't want to miss any of that action.
Yeah, exactly right. Right now, the last truck 2x2 is the 09 of Josh Lassen, and then from pretty much Gabe Butler on back, it is single file. And actually, that's another story too. Gabe Butler, he's been pretty much running top 2, top 3 this whole race. Now he finds himself outside the top 10. I believe he went ahead and did a 4-tire stop there, just to make sure he had the tires that he wants at the end. You see more trucks starting to drop to the bottom. I believe that was the who is it? The 052, I believe, that maybe slotted into the inside line there. So yeah, so everybody's starting to try to find their way down to the bottom here. Like you said, though, we're 16 to go, coming to 15 to go at the line. This is roughly about when my window starts to open. Would be this time by, I think, would be the earliest I'd want to pit. This would be the gamble, I think, if you are saying, you know what, we're going to make it on green, we're not going to get a green, white checker, this is when I pit. So we'll see if anybody is going to try to pull that gamble here tonight.
I think you're going to see quite a few come this time. I don't think you can bank on a green, white checkered right now, because if you get a yellow, you can try to save fuel under that yellow. I think if you want the track position, you've got to be one of the first ones to come. So definitely going to watch this entrance, because you know somebody's going to take that risk. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be any of them? No, they're all going to bank on the green, white checkered. So that's an interesting call. And you know, this build-up for this Gael only makes the tension of pit road worse, because now everybody's like, phew, nobody tried to pit before me, but now you're taking a bigger risk of everybody trying to come the same lap. And when we've seen that before, Gael, we've seen chaos, and the last pit stop is not where you want to have chaos.
Yeah, this is the one you want to make sure you nail your entry, you nail your pit stall, and then you get out nice and clean as well. So you're right. This is the most crucial pit stop. You don't want to overshoot your pit stalls. You don't want to speed on entry, and then you got to hope that you have a friend to tag onto as soon as you get out of pit road. So yeah, it looks like these guys are maybe building that barrier for a pit road, and so far, again, nobody peeking. I expected to see someone maybe in the back half try to pull a fast one. That way nobody could react to them that lap. But right now, everybody's pretty calm and content, and that might be, like you said, Maxwell, save the fuel now, make a shorter pit stop here later on in the run. So, but yeah, at this point, anybody that pits here will be easily good to go to the end, but just nobody's decided to blink yet. So it's just kind of that gamble, if you will, of who's going to be the first to throw their cards down on the table.
Absolutely, and it's been interesting to watch. Whoever's leading the race normally has a disadvantage, but tonight it's been an advantage because everybody is pitted around the same lap, as if the leader burning more fuel at the end of the day doesn't matter. And now I'd really want to be the leader, because you're going to be good now, but really going to think I'm going to see at least a split strategy here. And here it is right here on lap 14. There's a few guys going to make one more lap, but I bet you they regret that decision. But oh, Kevin Freeze gets loose and tagged on the pit road and hit. We have a wreck on pit road, and it's taken out a major points contender and someone who is one of the greatest at getting on pit road.
That is a big surprise there, and unfortunately, that really hurts two trucks as well. Everett Lane and Michael Mayu, they both just had nowhere to go, just kind of according into the back. So you mentioned that it could be a loss for those guys that had to come, that are going around the second time. This actually could actually be fruitful now for them. They've got to be I say they're going to blink though. They're going to react to this and come in right away. So they're going to be aggressive here on pit road, and it's going to be a smaller pack. So that's going to bode well for them as well. So watch the 02, 61 and company. Expect to see them all hitting pit road right now.
And just like clockwork, here they come. Seth Groover leading them down. Huge lock up there. Going to try to woe that thing down and get it to pit road speed. Hoping the camera switches around to see these guys making their way down the pit lane. And I think there it went. Making their way down the pit lane. Going to pull in here. Maximizing that entry. Oh, and one hits the pit wall as they pulled into their stall. A lot of mistakes right here. I believe that was Les Levy there. Yes.
Yeah, just again it's the pressure. They don't want to make mistakes, so they get a little over aggressive and they're trying to capitalize as they can. It's a really tight out of pit road there. Josh Lassen looks like almost squeezed out a little bit there. Now trying to build up speed once again. So now we'll see, can they build up speed enough to stay ahead of this pack, because here they come. And yeah, so there's I can already hear frustration mounting. Everybody's saying like, why aren't we lined up? And we need to kind of get together here. But it looks like right now James Mohan, he's gonna lead this field outside. But here comes Richard Sanchez. He's been quiet all night. He's gonna try to build up a momentum, but it might be Seth Groover here. Oh, caution out.
Wow, the yellow flag is out. Trying to see where that is on the racetrack. Oh, back there, Jim Brooks. We probably won't have a replay for this one, Gael, but it's Jim Brooks, Brad Slagle, these guys involved. That helps somebody like Kevin that lost a lot of time on pit road. But, man, there's some guys that haven't pitted yet. They're going to have to come get that fuel now, and that's going to be a big disadvantage for them here unless they just wanted to start at the back.
Yeah, I'm going back to try to take a look at it myself to see how this unfolded, and it was that exact pack we were talking about that they were talking about trying to get organized to try to catch, and it looks like just got a little unsettled on the push and contact with the push gone wrong for the 052 to the 00. That caught the 51 and the 28 or 28 as well. And man, that 051, he went for a ride there, so he definitely got the worst of it.
Yeah, and we just did not have the scene rendered until halfway through here. Here is part of the wreck, though. Big hit for the 052. All the Team Extreme guys back there involved, bouncing end over end as the 052, and Jim Brooks just looked like he was just innocent bystander. So we didn't see exactly on his roof there, the 052. But yeah, just big wrecks there, and you see how the renders are popping in and out. Had just been able to catch part of it here. With the render distance. Sorry about that again, folks, but got to see at least part of that incident. So now as we go live, I'm sure we're going to have a few guys here coming down the pit lane if they haven't already.
Basically there's three that did not pit, and I said I'm not sure if this is what they're looking for. I said I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, we're going to see Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, Robert Jordan. They're going to all have to pit here to make their fuel mileage to the end, which will cycle the lead over to that 0-2 of Seth Groover. He's going to cycle to the point. And then, of course, for those that were separated after the pit stops, that's going to bring them all back into the mix. So we're going to have, once again, here, Maxwell's, we're going to have a giant pack of drivers going for the win here, because I believe we're going to be sitting at about in the mid-20s of drivers on the lead lap here. I'm trying to see the lucky dog. I believe it's going to be the 80 truck of Rudy Doden. It looks like is going to get waved around there. I'm trying to see if anybody else is going to be sitting in front of them or not. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's going to be, I think, the 80 getting his lap back, which looks like putting us at 23. Actually, I think 24, if I'm not mistaken, on the lead lap.
Absolutely. It's going to be a race for sure with under 10 to go. We'll come back for the restart. But for now, as crazy as these pit strategy was, caution coming out in the middle, we're going to try to get things restacked for you here. We'll be back with the one to go to get you all set up for the finish. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Green, White, Checkered TV. right back here with 8 laps to go. Time to reset the field for you here. A lot of your front runners got swapped around at the wrong time of the race with all the pit stops going on. Thought they had their strategies right. It is not the case here tonight. Seth Groover is your leader here. Ryan Decker in second. Vicente Guerrero will be third. Josh Laston in the 4th spot. Dean Wilkinson been solid all night long in 5th and got a teammate there with him in Todd Siebels. Typically runs at the back, been at the back all race long, but when the time comes, here he is ready to run for it in 6th. Robert Jordan in the 7th spot. James Moen leading a lot of this race all the way back to 8th now. Richard Sanchez in 9th, and your winningest driver, I think, ever in Area 51, Gabe Butler in the 10th spot. Notables also include Kevin Freese back in 19th after that pit road incident. So definitely going to be an interesting restart here, but the pace truck is off, and we are ready to get you back underway. Just 7 laps to go as we come through the tri-oval, waiting on the green in the Geico restart zone. We see Seth waits till the very end of it to get a jump, and he gets a jump indeed, going to jump in front of the 61. It's an interesting call, and now there is no give. It's all take here tonight, and there's a lot of aggressive drivers up front that are just tasting victory with Gabe being stuck back there 4th in line in the outside lane. So Gael definitely going to have a lot of action here to watch, and it's going to be exciting to bring all the finish here. But let's see what's going on because, man, this is crazy. 3rd lane already getting started.
Yeah, everybody's trying to find where the momentum is, and yeah, like I said, the 02 looked like he went to pick up the 61, and then they both cleared the 14 of Vicente, dropped back down in front of him. That's allowed Josh Laston lead this outside line with the 45 of Todd Siebels as pusher.
Oh, big wreck with the 61. Yellow's going to be out. What a crash. Trying to get through here and find that truck. It dropped off so fast here. Man, what a big hit for Josh. Racing up front, talked about that aggression, Gael. Those guys hungry for a win. That was a big one, and we're going to see if we can at least catch the majority of it and see smoke coming out of that truck. The engine's probably shot.
Yeah, that 61 took a big hit there for Ryan. And I said, again, I think it's just possibly a push gone wrong. So we're going to take another look. And, oh, yeah, taking a look, and you'll see right here, Vicente just a little bit off-centered and just right hooks that 61. And then, yeah, unfortunately, he just goes along for a ride there. And then you see
into the 7.
Yeah, big
Gabe
hit
Butler
for him.
getting a little bit of contact in all this.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Wagner just snuck on by. It looks like as a whole, you see, look at the 2 truck there. He winds up going off-road in there, but I think he hangs on to it there.
Kevin involved yet again. Kevin's got some
Joshua
damage.
Hanner.
Kevin Freese in the 25 getting a lot of damage from that. You see he gets knocked up toward the wall. Does he keep it off of it? Oh, it's going to be close. Oh!
Yeah, I think he just flirted with it, but I think he avoids it.
But he definitely got some nose
7,
damage there.
though.
You can see that for sure.
Yeah, and the 7's got a motor popped. He's going to have to try to limp this thing to pit road here and get his fast repair done. So unfortunate. Like I said, James has been up front so much tonight, but now he's going to have to make an unscheduled pit stop. Gabe's coming in. Oh, actually, Kevin Freese's truck, that truck is not tracking straight here, Maxwell. And I believe probably may have had to use his fast repair, so his tough season may continue here because that thing is crab walking.
Yeah, I think he used that fast repair, though, with that incident on pit road. So not 100%, but this truck may be done for the evening. Going to see here. Yeah, I don't see any fast repair being taken here.
Oh, that's
no,
tough one
look at
for
the
Kevin.
damage there on the front of it.
Yeah, and Gabe had to use his fast repair as well, so he's going to be done. And it looks like, unfortunately, a couple of retirements as well from this incident. Looks like the 51 of Jim Brooks may have been caught up in this one as well. He's had to retire as well. So we saw him caught up in that previous incident. So pretty much the last 2 yellows, both of them involving the 51, forcing him for an early retirement tonight as well. Tough break for him as well.
Absolutely tough night for some, but for these top 3, man, they're having a great night here. Seth Groover, your leader. Vicente Guerrero I don't want to say cause of that caution, but just the mistimed bump there in second. Josh Laston running strong in third, up 20 positions from his starting spot. Dean Wilkinson in fourth. Todd Siebel's up 26 right now, biggest mover in fifth. And then you've got Robert Jordan up 15 in sixth. And Gaio, if we're looking at timing and scoring, our top 10 are all positive here. A lot of guys up on the timing and scoring stand, kind of like we flipped the starting order here. And
yeah, you're exactly right. You're yeah, like I said, Josh Lasson right now, him and Todd Siebel is definitely the high climbers of the night, 20 and 26 positions. And then I'm looking to see, because I believe it may be Eric Laurie. I believe may have got the wave around there to get back in the lead lap. So you got to throw him back into the mix as well. So it's going to leave us 20 trucks, I think, in contention here. Looks like everybody else has been able to get on pit road and either serviced or fast repaired. So we should still have 20 trucks left for the win here tonight. And obviously fuel's out of the question. Everybody's good to go here. And we're going to restart this thing just outside of green, white checker territory. So fuel number still should be looking good for everybody.
Absolutely. And, aggression still ramping up here, Gael. A lot of these guys still, that wreck's not going to phase them. They're still going to go hard. And, folks, we're going to stay with you here until the end. We're done going out for the yellow flags. With less than 5 to go, we're going to stick out till the checkered with you here. So, resetting it for you, Gael, do you think they get less aggressive or more aggressive knowing they've been wrecking guys up front? I think it's going to be a dogfight to the end, and we might just see 4 wide trying to come to this finish line.
Oh, yeah. No, more aggressive is definitely going to be what we see, because now it's, oh, man, I don't even have time now. I just got to get to the front. So any run you get, you're going to try to take. Obviously, if the third lane's available, you're going to go for it. The fourth lane, I'm not sure. I think that's going to be a risk reward there. Tri-oval is definitely a little wider, so it's more doable there, but then you got to find a way to squeeze back in. So, yeah, I think as soon as the momentum is there for that second, third lane, we're going to see it going up top there. So I'm trying to look for teammates or any affiliations right now. The best I see right now is the TW guys, Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels. They're in different lanes, but they're right together there. So they have a chance. The 5'10" Richard Sanchez with them as well. So there's a few drivers that have some options around them. I think this is going to be one of those, just you've got who you've got around you and try to make it work.
Absolutely. This is going to be an absolute dogfight. Seth Groover in first, Vicente Guerrero in second, Josh Last in third, Dean Wilkinson fourth, Todd Siebels, your top 5 here. And I got to ask, who's your favorite here tonight? I mean, a lot of front runners in the back. Gabe Butler back in 15th, James Moen 16th, Kevin Freeze 19th with damage. I mean, a lot of your fast guys that typically dominate these events having some bad luck here toward the end. Got some guys really doing bad. Everett Lane there running strong all night. He's in the 30th position. Jim Brooks, having a bad night, but still. So who do you got?
I'm going to refrain from choosing because I don't want to be the commentator's curse. I'm trying to avoid that in 2023. I did see my brother chime in. He's going for Dean Wilkinson in that 55 truck, so that's who he thinks has the win. So, yeah, if you're watching, I say we've had one pick for Dean, but again, feel free to chime in. Let us know. So we only got 3 laps, 3 laps potentially to determine it, but it's going to get wild here. I'm looking forward to it, see what these guys have. So get ready. Here we go, Maxwell.
Absolutely. Pace truck is in. Cars in the Geico restart zone. Seth Groover gets the jump here, but Vicente gets a great jump as well, timing it perfectly. He's going to be side by side with Dean Wilkinson as a pusher behind him. I don't know which line's going to be better, inside or outside, but that 14 has shown so much strength and so much aggression. But so is Seth Groover. It's a crapshoot on who's going to get this here tonight. But coming out of turn 2, they are dead, even with the outside lane actually getting a huge push. Vicente is going to be clear, and Dean might be as well. They 3 wide for second now as they go into turn 3.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of unsettledness, and Robert Jordan decided the safest bet for him was the jump top, so he's going to pick up that 2 truck. But look there's the 0-2. He got the run he wanted. He gets him back in front of Dean. He's going to take the push now to the outside line. And now when you're the 45, the 09, you're just like, I want to get to the top. I'm stuck on the bottom side here, but it's going to be Seth who's continuously lap. Look at Dean, though.
Dean making a move. big move in the trioval from Dean Wilkinson. We know he can win these races, and he's like, forget the 14 or the 2. I'm going to take the point here with just 2 laps remaining. 3 wide the top lane, taking a while to build momentum, but it looks like it's slowly coming to him. But the race is really going to be who ditches who at the end here, Gael. And remember, the start-finish line is not in the trioval. It's on down the straightaway.
Yeah, exactly. And look at that 67. He was peaking, thinking about going to the top. But the important thing, too, Maxwell, they got to get to the white. At that point, race is official. So if there's a big wreck here, which hopefully there's not as they get close, then we still have the green-white checker. So if they can make this white flag at that point, then they'll be going after it. Look at Les Levy. He's decided, I want to try to get to that third lane. Look at Gabe Butler. He's creeping up the mix here. 1 to go.
Absolutely. Gabe Butler going to make us look like fools if he wins this again. But lots of contact getting made deep in that pack. Gabe just looking to clear to get in front of Les Levy. Will he be able to do it? Looks like he's clear enough. He's going to move up. It's going to be a 3-wide battle here for the win tonight. Dean Wilkinson leading. Seth Groover, though, getting a big push from Reed down the back straightaway. But Vicente, we've seen him be that big pusher, and a big push to Dean there, getting him a little loose, but also getting him clear as they come out of 4.
Yeah, now it's all about the drag race, and Carl Henderson, he's peeked in here out of nowhere. Now this is the jockeying.
Lots
Everybody's
of
got to try to block.
contact, too. Coming through the trioval, starting to interrupt. Lots of contact, almost 5 wide. Big wreck here at the end. A bunch of trucks flipping. Who is going to get it?
Looks like Dean Wilkinson bringing home, but huge wreck there at the start-finish line through the trioval. To see what all happened there, but oh, that's heartbreak for Seth Groover. Not sure what happened to him. Obviously, I think, again, probably a push gone wrong. Just that's heartbreaking for Seth, looking like he had a guaranteed top 2.
Yeah, hell, you're going to have to give us our finishing order here tonight. If you look at my screen, that wreck just messed timing and scoring up. I've got Kevin Freeze, of all people, as the winner in that because of how big that wreck was. But going to have to go back and look at this. We know Dean Wilkinson is your winner. Unofficially, I'm going to let Gael give us the official results here later, but I think Dean knows he got it. What a big, big win for him as he goes to celebrate. But, man, what a crash at the end. Gonna have to see if we can go back and watch this one, and we're going to catch it all the way at the white flag and see if we can go from there just to see how all this formulated for you guys. Scrolling as fast as I can, trying to get to this white flag lap, and we're going to take a look at it in real time and just see how it all formulated. Talk us through it, Gael.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. So at this point, you get the white flag, you know it's all bets are off, going to try to just who's going to get to the line first. You're going to try to keep your temps in check, try to work with who you trust as long as you can. But then once you get out of 4, that's when everybody starts to try to make their moves and try to jump around. We saw Gabe, he tried to get up to that third lane, but just the push never really formed up top, so he didn't have an opportunity like he was hoping for. You see Carl on the inside line gets all the way up to about the 5th or 6th position there next to his teammate Josh on the 09 truck. This is where it all starts to kick off right here, Maxwell. You mentioned that big push from the 14 to the back of the 55 really propelled them forward. But then it's right as we get into the trioval, you're going to see the 02 and then the 67 just weren't quite on the same page. Again, these drivers haven't raced with each other as much as some of the others, so they're not as familiar with each other. And unfortunately, I think that's where it was nothing malicious. I think just the 67 actually tried to help the 02, but it was just a little bit offset. And you'll see right here, as you can see, he's a little bit off to the left there, and then he drifts to the right. That's where he makes the bump, and you're going to see the 02 truck just go straight to the wall, and that's all it takes. And at that point, you can see everybody knows that something's about to happen. And then I'll say there's almost 2 or 3 separate wrecks happening at that exact same time. But yeah, Dean gets through unscathed. The 14 of Vicente Guerrero got through unscathed, and then Richard Sanchez able to sneak through the bottom as well. And then it was just kind of who was able to kind of crash across the line first. And Kevin Freeze, the best of those that kind of wound up on their lid, but made it across the line. They're still grabbing a top 5. And then Rudy Doden, the 80 truck, he winds up finishing in 5th, 25 spots over where he started here tonight.
Absolutely. And Gael, this is a first here. you're going to probably have to be the guy that brings in our top three, because if you look at my running order on the
It's a little
broadcast
bit
here,
off.
it is a lot off. Like, it is. That wreck just messed up all the renders for me. So, if you can bring in our third place finisher here tonight, we'll go ahead and kick off some interviews, and you're going to have to tell me who it is, because
Oh,
I
yep.
wasn't able to see it at the end.
No worries. We will bring him on in, and it is going to be that 5'10" of Richard Sanchez, bringing it home in third, getting 17 spots on the day. And Richard, I mean, it was obviously those last two restarts. I mean, it was time to go. Obviously, the big question mark was the fuel mileage tonight, just with the way the timings and everything went. But then kind of fuel went out the window at the end there, but you kept yourself in position. And was there a lane you wanted to be in? Was it just kind of just your situation was forced, or I mean, take us through what the strategy was in those closing laps. I mean, you had some teammates around you, but you guys just weren't able to get locked on together as well as you'd like to, obviously.
No, I was stuck on the bottom. Not really what I wanted to be. Tried to get out to the outside to either get a push or push a teammate, but it's just the luck of the draw. But there at the end, it was just the seas parted and everybody disappeared in front of me except for 1 and 2. So I just got lucky on that one.
Absolutely. And Richard, just a crazy race. Can't say we saw just a whole lot of you here tonight, but man, at the end, you got through the big crash there that got you the third place finish. Was that one of the bigger ones you think you've seen here at Dega? Kind of talk us through that tri-oval and kind of what all you were seeing and how you even knew you came out through the smoke in third.
My vision's kind of limited, so I really didn't see what happened. I just, like I said, all of a sudden everybody disappeared in front of me. So I just got lucky.
Yeah, I mean that's what it takes at these races sometimes. I mean, obviously you gotta be there all race long to get yourself in position. But I mean, obviously we all know luck plays a big part in these races. To be able to kind of finish it off at the end. Obviously, a lot of work though to get to there at the end though to be in that shot to have a chance at the win. So, and I mean, overall it's a good run for your team as well. With I'll say because we saw you up there obviously. And saying I think you've actually kind of migrated over to the Bootknocker group as well in the Discord, or maybe you're just chatting with them post race. I'm not sure. But I mean, did you have any official kind of teammates that you're working with this season regularly now?
No, not really. I just hang with the Bootknockers. Yeah, it's a good team, good group of guys to run with, and yeah, fun, a lot of fun.
All right, well, man.
I thought my night was over. I got stuck there at the back, and I was just riding and thought it was going to end up a lap down there at the middle of the race. But like I said, luck had my way, and I got back up there. So fun race.
Absolutely. Looked like a lot of fun there tonight. Looked like you had like you said, the night looked dismal for a little bit, but just shows how restrictor plate racing can go. One yellow changes everything, and now you come away with a third place finish. So before we send you back to the teammates to celebrate, want to give you the floor for any thanks and shout outs you might have for that third place finish here tonight, Richard.
First off, Area 51 for such a good league. You guys for putting on a good show for us all. And also shout out to the Bootknocker guys for letting me run with them.
All right. Well, hey, congrats on the third place finish. Go celebrate with the team, and we'll see you next week at that big bad iRacing Superspeedway.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right. That was your third place finisher, Richard Sanchez. And now it's time for Guile to bring in who's second, because I have no clue. All right.
So he was ready to roll, and that is the 14 of Vicente Guerrero, bringing it home in second, doing a really good job. I mean, up front, really the majority of the night, Vicente, and then obviously just everything got pretty chaotic there at the end. But you're one of the few that was able to kind of escape unscathed there through the trial to grab that runner-up spot. But you, I think, were really the one there on the backstretch that really propelled Dean to the front there. That big hit entering three really kind of propelled him yourself forward a little bit. I mean, do you feel like that was actually maybe the move that got you guys clear of all that carnage? I mean, what was the game plan going into that final lap? Because I mean, you want to win, but at the same time, you obviously try to just make sure you still get the best result for yourself if it can't be the win.
Right. At that point there, I was pretty much committed to push Dean to the win. Um, Coming out of the trial work there, probably going into the trial, well, I got a little bit loose, uh, got bumped in the right rear, got a little bit loose, and then there was just a bunch of chaos there. They all started wrecking. So I thought I was going to lose more positions than I thought. I ended up in second, so that was pretty good.
Vicente, saw you up front majority of the night. Seemed like you had a very strong truck here tonight. And talk us through kind of the strategies a little bit. I know it kind of changed a bunch, but, do you feel like the aggression at this track really ramped up there at the end? And do you think the majority of this season is going to show us this kind of aggression? I mean, that was probably the biggest wreck I've ever seen coming for the win, but just seems like a lot of new faces and a lot of fast trucks out there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I like to see that everybody's hungry for a win. I mean, this is the whole purpose of racing, right? There's only one winner. There's the possibility of having 43 drivers. So everybody's got to be driving the way they want to drive. I drive aggressive, and I'll drive aggressive most of the time. Unless, if I just want to enjoy my beer and kick back in the back and chill. But most of the time, I like to drive aggressive. But there's people that don't like to drive aggressive. So you just got to chill around those people that don't like to be driven aggressively. And they'll tell you, hey, don't push the pusher or something like that. But you just got to listen to the other drivers and, to make them comfortable and not cause a wreck. But it's fun. I enjoy racing.
Yeah, I mean, you were, like I said, you were having to be aggressive at times. And obviously, at the end, I'm sure Dean was very happy with how aggressive you were because, like I said, I think that was a big part of propelling him to the win here tonight, man. But I mean, start fourth, finish second, a great result for you nonetheless. And definitely want to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts for that runner up tonight.
Shout out to every 51 putting on this league. I really enjoy racing this league. And I don't have plans to Cleveland. I like racing this Thursday league. I also want to thank you guys for broadcasting. Max and Gal, you guys do a fucking awesome job. I don't know if I could even say the F-bomb on YouTube, but I just did. Oh well. I also want to, my thoughts and prayers are out to our close family friend. Right now she's battling for her life. Just want to let her know that we love her.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely thinking of you and yeah, her and her family and everything. Hope everything goes as best as possible, man. So yeah, definitely thinking of you there. But again, great job tonight, man. And yeah, it was always a pleasure watching you race, and definitely looking forward to seeing more of you. But yeah, definitely give them our best as well. And yeah, thinking of you guys.
All right, well, that was your second place finisher. Now it's time to bring up your race winner, as the replay system is just all sorts of jacked up from that finish. So here we go. Dean Wilkinson with us here tonight, your race winner. And Dean, what an interesting race. Kind of saw you up front early on. Then you got really loose there on the apron, lost a lot of track position, and almost lost the draft. And then the right cautions kind of brought you up front here and got you the big pushes you needed for the victory. Talk us through the roller coaster of events you had here tonight.
Oh man, luck, lots of luck there. But that time where I got loose, I actually didn't get loose. We had just finished the pit, and as we were going through the turn, I was just checking my black box, and I noticed I had used my quick repair, and I was kind of shocked by it, and so took my eyes off the road for a second, and then went below the L, and that happened. And then you're right, I almost lost the draft thanks to who was it that got me back up there?
I believe it was Bob Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
Bob
Mr.
Fitzgerald,
Fitzgerald. Yeah, Bob. Yeah, that was good. Thank you, Bob, for doing that. And yeah, then we got lucky with that caution. We were just gonna. Todd wanted to lead a lap. I wanted to lead a lap, and we did. And then we thought, okay, well, we'll get Robert in front of us since he's a lap down, and if the caution should happen to come out before we pit, which of course it did, so that there's that luck. Yep. And then the end there, Vicente, thank you for the push. That was a good push at the end, and yeah, big wreck. That was a crazy wreck.
Yeah,
Glad I wasn't part of it.
Yeah, so you were one of the few that was able to clear through, but and yeah, I mean, like you said, you guys said, hey, let's just grab a lap lead, and like I said, I mean, and the thing was, like, when that happens, like, oh man, they're going to restart in the teens basically just because of everybody else having pitted already. But you wind up rolling out like right around the top 5 or so. So, I mean, it actually worked out really well for you guys, still even pitting under caution while everybody's finished under green. I think the way the incident was and kind of the way the field was spread out still, you guys were able to get in and out quickly, keep a lot of that track position that really kept you in the running there. I mean, was that something you were seeing like on the kind of the timing and scoring where everybody was, or was it kind of one of those pleasant surprises when you roll out? It's like, hey, we're still right up front here.
Pleasant surprise. Yep. We had no idea where we were going to be because everybody was everywhere. We figured we were going to be close to the front, but
yeah, I mean, it worked out well. And then I'm seeing looks like we might be having a race winner birthday boy if I'm reading my chat here correctly.
Yes,
so
sir.
Willing to kind of give some insider info on that one.
Yeah, it's my birthday. I win on my birthday. It's my birthday.
I mean, that's a way to celebrate, Maxwell. I don't know if we've ever had an actual race winner on their birthday in Area 51 before. So I mean, I think we're going to probably start adding like stats and such. And so you might be the first of those to, as I know it's been very rare in NASCAR in the Cup Series. So I think we have our first time Area 51 birthday winner. So
I think it was meant to be. I don't know if you noticed my my qualifying time. So my qualifying time was a 5:55.55. I'm the 55, and I was in 5th place.
Yeah. So if it's not closed yet, Dean, before we let you go here, or I guess right after we let you go, actually, I would run and buy a lottery ticket for the CP. I'm not sure what it's up to right now, but man, that's some number. I say people who believe in that numerology stuff. I mean, that is on the dot there. The 55 running to 55, 555 on your birthday, getting the win. I mean, I say, and incident free tonight, so maxing out the bonus points. I mean, this was a really good race for you for just all around here tonight.
Yeah, it was a fun race.
Absolutely. And hey, he got a birthday gift. He was able to get the win on Gabe Butler, right? He defeated that big win streak Gabe was having. So
yep, that's huge.
What a
beat
present
Gabe,
for you.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Dean, we want to give you the floor here tonight for any thanks and shout-outs that you might have for this win tonight. I'm sure you got plenty, and hey, maybe even any shout-outs, for your birthday. I don't know. See what you got.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Always, I'm going to go back and watch it. It's always a hoot. And Area 51 for putting on the race. My teammates, of course, Rock and Siebels. And I can't think, you can't have a good race without the drivers. So again, I always like to thank the drivers. All these guys are great racers, and without great racers, you don't have these fun races. So I thank all the drivers.
All right.
Yeah, great job tonight, Dean. Go. So if you haven't had any cake yet, go do that while you buy your lottery ticket. Yeah, like I said, just great job tonight, man. Saying, and also I say you made my brother feel good too, because he said he picked you for the win, not knowing it was your birthday, and see, I was able to kind of nail it all down there. So you made him happy, made him feel smart. So
maybe he's my lucky charm. Thank you, brother, for me.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to wait and see for future races, because don't expect to not see you up there anymore in the future. So definitely look forward to seeing you up front challenging for these wins and the championships, man. So we'll let you go celebrate. Congrats again, Dean.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was your winner, Dean Wilkinson. And now I would love nothing more than to show you the final race results. But Gael, I would be called an absolute liar if I threw up what results I have here. I mean, mine has Kevin first, James Moen second, and Gary Winters third. But that is not at all what happened, is it?
Well, I mean, if you ask them, they'll say they'll take that all day, every day. But unfortunately, no, not quite accurate. So, yeah, so obviously our top 3, Dean Wilkinson, Vicente Guerrero, and Richard Sanchez, our top 3 tonight. Kevin Freeze, Rudy Doden bringing home our top 5s. And then 6 on back, I got to say, great recovery for James Mohan. Again, remember, he lost his motor on that wreck before, fought all the way back into the top 10 to grab 6th. Gary Winters, talked about him making big gains there towards the end as well, grabbing a 7th spot. Jimmy Reynolds, 8th. Todd Siebel showing in the 9th spot. Matt Wagner rounding out our top 10. And then 11th on back, you've got Les Levy, Robert Jordan, Carl Henderson, Timmy Reed, Josh Hanner, Robert Rock, Josh Laston, Gabe Butler, Seth Groover, and Ryan Decker. And I believe the last lead lap finisher will be Eric Laurie in 21st. Then, unfortunately, a couple of those drivers a lap or more down will be Brad Slagle, Bud Steele there, 22nd, 23rd. And then further down the order, Bob Fitzgerald. Again, big shout out, though, for Bob, obviously, for Dean there, was able to, wound up helping the race winner. That's got to feel pretty good for Bob. Hopefully, again, he's going to hope for that favor to get repaid in the future. Brandon Briggs, not the night he was looking for tonight, finishes 25th. And then you got Michael Mayus, Everett Lane, Chris Passini, David Bone, Mike Rimkus, Jim Brooks, and Tom Dixon in 32nd. So tough night for some of our front runners. Like you said, though, you look at the final results, a lot of our finishers were way up from where they qualified. So the high qualifiers, really the only two that did well tonight, Kevin Freese, James Mohan, and it wasn't for the lack of adversity. They had to work their way back up there. So great recovery drives for those guys. And yeah, a lot of high climbers here tonight.
Absolutely. And Gael, would you believe that my iRacing timing and scoring would show one thing on one screen, and then when I pop it up here, it looks to be correct on stream
over there?
So I don't know. I think these Area 51 truckers got so rough and tough that they just absolutely broke my system as far as keeping up with live timing. But we do have those results on screen for you in case you weren't able to hear Gael. Definitely were able to make it through a lot of these guys, and some guys had great nights, some guys not so much. But one interesting thing there, and if this is correct, Gabe Butler in 17th after the dominating fashion he's had the last few races on Thursday nights and Sunday nights. Led a lot of laps here tonight, but really nothing to show for it. And guys that needed good nights, even though they kind of had bad nights, Kevin Freese up there in the top 5. So the points are going to change a lot between tonight and tomorrow, and it's okay, because we know that we still got a few more races before the playoffs, Gael. I know points aren't a big deal, but, hey, points kind of show you who's running hot and who's not, but they're about to get all topsy-turvy, and when it comes playoff time, this will be definitely one of those races these drivers look at and wish they could probably have a do-over there on that last lap.
Yeah, exactly right. And there will be obviously the one drop week for these front 8 races before we get into the final championship 4. So yes, like this could be Gabe's drop week, and that'll obviously keep him up there. For those that have maybe missed a race, Dean Wilkinson, I believe, missing last week's race, so that's probably that I would have to assume will be his drop week there as well. So there's a lot to play for, and like I said, we got to see where the official cutoff is going to be on the championship side. It will be increasing from the typical 8 drivers. I believe minimum is going to be to go from the 8 to the 12, possibly 16. Just depends on, again, the car counts or truck counts, I guess I should say, in this. Because I say we probably aren't going to set up where the whole field gets to make the playoffs. So we'll see how the counts look. But yeah, look for 12 to 16 drivers being eligible for those final 4 championship spots. So it's going to be fun to see, but we're not even halfway there, Maxwell. So we've got a lot of racing left to go.
A long way left to go, and that means next week, join us back here on Green White Checker TV as we go and tackle one of my favorite races to watch, the iRacing Superspeedway. Big speeds, big banks, big action. And these truckers, if they put on this big of a show at Talladega, just imagine what they're going to do for you there at the iRacing Superspeedway. So join us there next Thursday night right here on Green White Checker TV. And do not forget about Sunday nights as the Next Gen Series goes and takes to the banks there at the iRacing Superspeedway. I'm right, correct, Kyle? They will be at iRacing Superspeedway as well. So hopefully Boomer Logan is back with you there in the booth, but I know Guile Brooks will be there as well, bringing you all the action on Sunday nights. And it's going to be action-packed there as well. I can't imagine what those next gens would be like at that iRacing Superspeedway. They've got to be absolutely crazy there. So don't miss out, folks. But for myself and Guile Brooks, we are going to go ahead and sign off here tonight. Big action here at Dega. Looking forward to next week at iRacing Superspeedway, and looking forward to you guys coming to join us next Thursday night. So everyone have a great night. We'll see you next week. And we'll see you next time.